Hitting $100,000 a month wholesaling and flipping real estate is super easy. It's also very simple. And I was watching some videos on YouTube the other day. I just wanted to see what was out there of people teaching how to hit $100,000 a month. And what I saw was complete bullshit. It was like very obviously people that have never hit $100,000 a month inside of their real estate business, or at least have not done it consistently. Because I saw a bunch of crazy shit that required a ton of overhead, like a bunch of different employees, all these VAs. It's stuff that you honestly don't need. So today I'm going to be breaking down the very simple math and what exactly to do to get 100K a month, not only easily, but also very profitably as well. And so if you're new to this channel, all we do here is we help get businesses to $100,000 a month, and then we help get individual sales reps to $100,000 a month. This isn't an income claim. I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to be able to do that, but if you follow the steps, it will make it more likely that you're able to find success. And if you are already subscribed, welcome back. I promise you, I have a really good one for you guys today. You guys are going to love this. I'm going to walk through some of the crazy shit that I've heard first. Some of the things that you absolutely do not need to build a 100K a month wholesaling. Number one, you do not need a huge team. This is one of the craziest things that I saw is people were like, oh, you need like 1 million different employees. You need all this staff. You need all this overhead. No, you don't need a huge team. You can literally do 100K a month by yourself. At most, I would recommend if you're doing 100K a month, you have one acquisitions manager, a dispo. I'm going to break down the actual team there after this. You also, one of the things that you don't need is you don't need to work 80 hours a week. This is crazy. People are like, oh yeah, well, you need to spend like 10 hours driving for dollars and doing all this stuff. Now, I'm going to just give you guys like a shift that I hope you understand. There are two types of wholesalers and flippers. I'm going to target wholesalers more here because flippers tend to understand this a little bit better. There's the broke ass minded wholesalers that are like, I need to do everything manually and I need to like juice every little thing and I need to do all this creative stuff that nobody else is doing. And then there's like the rich minded wholesalers that go, hey, this is really just a simple math game and I can have help and I can do leverage and I can do high leverage activities. When I talk about that, the reason I say that is another thing you don't need is you don't need 15 cold callers. That's crazy. Why do you need to manage 15 cold callers? It doesn't make any sense. I'll show you really how simple it can be. The first thing that we need to do is we need to do some basic math. And so let's say that we're going to do reverse math, right? So let's say we want to do 100K a month. This is our monthly revenue. Now, if we want to do 100K a month, that means that typically, let's say, our average deal size is 25,000. So we're going to have to do 4 deals at 25K. So 4 deals at $25,000. Is it likely that we're going to have some fallout? Like, are we going to lock up 4 contracts and get 4 deals? Well, unlikely, right? Even if you're flipping, you're going to have inspection periods. You're going to uncover things. You're going to realize, hey, this is not something that I want to do. On a virtual model, I typically see about 65% contract to close. And on a in-person model, I've seen anywhere from like 75 to 80%. Obviously, there's teams that do a lot better than this, and then flippers can be in the 90s, but I'm going to be really conservative here. Let's say 70%. So that means we need about 6 contracts. 6 contracts per month. Really easy. If you just look at 6 contracts per month divided by 4, that's 1.5 contracts per week. I'm going to break it down even and more simple in a little bit here. And so 6 contracts per month, that means that at a 25% close rate, which is very easy to attain if you have a good sales process. If you're not at 25% close rate and the other metrics are not hitting, like you have a problem inside of your business. So that's why I say it's like simple. You just have to figure out how to get there. So a 25% close rate, that means that you need to make 24 offers per month. Now there's 20 days. So this is literally like, okay, people are saying you need to work 80 hours. It's like, I just need to make 1 to 2 offers a day. Again, not a ton of work there. So 24 offers. Now, not everybody is going to pick up the phone right when you book the appointment. Now, if you have a 1-step call, right when you answer the phone, you give them an offer on the first call, your metrics are going to be better than if you have a 2-step call. But in this scenario, let's say you have a 2-step call, meaning you call them, you run the numbers, and then you call them back. If that's the case, then out of 24 offers, it's probably going to take you roughly, let's call it 80%. Let's go 85. So 85%. So let's call it 28 appointments. So 28 appointments. So now you're at 28 appointments per month. It's like literally 1 per day. Really easy to attain. Now we're going to back math even more. And we're going to say, okay, well, how many people that we speak to does it take to book an appointment? I've seen a lot of businesses, right? Typically, I see the average. Now, this isn't like the gold standard, but the average is about 60%. So now I'm going to be at 47. I call this net leads, right? Or qualified leads, just meaning these people have a house. They are looking to sell the property and they answer the phone, right? So 47 net leads, we should be able to book 28 of those into appointments if we're qualifying them. Instagram. And then out of those, we generally want to speak to about 58 people. Sorry, we're going to get about 58 leads, because if we get a lead, you guys are working inbound. Not everybody that fills out a form is going to answer the phone. That's just the reality. You're going to have 20% of people that never answer the phone. They might say, take me off your list, so forth and so on. So this is the actual math here. This is all we need to do. And we could break it down. So this is like a monthly. We could break it down weekly. We could break it down. And we will do that actually. All I need to do is, let's say that these are my metrics. And if I want to, I'll be like super conservative here. I'll say that you're in an expensive market. If I need to do this, now I need to figure out what is my ad spend. So what does it cost me to get these 58 leads? And just about anywhere in the US, you should be able to get leads for roughly $250, right? Now, there are some markets where you end up, like if you end up spending about a 50 to 75K, it's very difficult. And these are markets like Southern California, Miami, New York. Like, yes, your cost per lead ends up going a little bit higher, but what also goes higher is this average deal size, right? So I'm going to talk about average inside of the US. You should be able to get leads for roughly $250. So let's do 58 times 250, which is going to be roughly $14,500 in ad spend. Now notice, this doesn't take me a lot of work to get these 58 leads. And this is one of the things that like drove me crazy about some of the other things that I saw online, is people were like, oh yeah, you got to have like 15 like driving for dollars people. And you got to have like, or there was other people like, yeah, I have like 20 cold callers. And yeah, well, guess what? Then you got to hire 20 cold callers, or, outsource it, which those typically don't work as well as people in-house. You got to go manage the people that are driving for dollars. You got to give them KPIs. You have a bunch of weekly meetings with your cold call team or with your cold call provider. You have a weekly meeting with all your driving for dollars. You're, training them on the systems. Like, it's a lot of work. Like, it doesn't have to be that difficult to hit $100,000 a month. It really doesn't. It's actually really simple. And that's what I'm going to walk you guys through today. With this, if I'm trying to get to $14,500 in ad spend, that's one account. And like, one of the craziest things I've heard is you need to have 5 different marketing channels. Well, if you have 5 different marketing channels, you're not going to be good at any of them. So just stick to one. Like for us, we have 2 at the most. And it's really just PPC with like some supplementary YouTube ads. And the only reason, like, it's both Google. And so we just retarget the people that go on our PPC. And so it just helps us with the overall algorithm. It doesn't have to be complicated. All right. So now let's break this down on what do you need to do weekly. And then I'm going to break down what your team should look like after this. 58 divided by 4. That means every week you need to have 14 leads. Can you handle 2 leads a day? Are you going to be working 80 hours a week if you're calling 2 leads a day? Probably not. You're probably going to be working 20 to 30. Now, there's other stuff in the business, obviously, that is important, but for the most part, like, it's not going to take a ton of time. Now let's talk about your net leads. So 47 divided by 4. This means you need to actually get on the phone and speak to 11 leads a week. So these are our net leads. Out of those, we want to book appointments on 28 of them, right? We're going to commit to giving 28 offers per month, which means per week, we're going to commit to giving 7 offers. Now, if you're working 7 days a week, that's 1. If you're working 5 days a week, it's or a little bit more than that. Then we're going to see how many offers do we need to make. I'm going to divide that again by 4. So I need to make 6. So this is appointments. Let me just redo that. This is appointments. This is offers. And then you guys get the gist of it, right? That means that you need to get 6 divided by 4. You need to get roughly 1.5 contracts, which means you're going to roughly fall between 1 to 2. And then you're going to have 1 closed deal per week at 25K. Not a lot of work. As you guys can see, doesn't have to be extremely complicated. It's really simple. It's just like simple math. One of the things that drives me crazy is some of the time, like, I'll see these businesses and they're like, their metrics are good. So if you guys are hitting this right now, or metrics anywhere near this, and you're doing, let's say, $100,000 a month, and you're spending $14,000 on ad spend, you're getting a 7x return on ad spend. And I see these companies that are like getting really good return on ad spend. They're like, oh, well, I just need to find a new marketing channel, or I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do all this bullshit. It's like, dude, you're getting 7x for every dollar that you put in. 60 to 90 days later, you get 7x back. You need to just keep doing more of what you're already doing until you hit that $100,000 a month, or whatever your goal is. Like, you can honestly get up to like 150, 200 before you start having other issues in the business. So now that we've done that, let's talk about the team size. Honestly, at the end of the day, you do not need a huge team to be able to handle that level of bandwidth. Like, we saw how many leads that we need per day, how many appointments, how many offers. You really don't need a huge team. What I recommend is, if you look at any sort of wholesale business, there's typically 3 main pillars. You got sales, you got marketing. I should have done marketing first. Marketing, and then you've got dispo. Now, I will say, once you get into like the $400,000 or 500K a month, there does become some more components of it. Like, inside of Dispo, you've got TC, but you've also got you got finance where you're looking at your P&L, your bookkeeping, especially if you're doing flips, that becomes pretty hairy as well. You've got contractors, but these are the main pillars, especially sub 100K a month. It's sales, marketing, and Dispo. Now, marketing sub 100K a month, you do not need a dedicated marketing manager for this. Honestly, typically here, you're going to be working with an agency, and I would focus on the high intent lead sources. Now, the reason that most people do not buy high intent lead sources is that they're scared that they can't close them. And so it's a sales problem at the end of the day. And what we do in our entire inner circle is that's the number one thing that we focus on is just sales process. So we have a sales call every single day where we train sales teams on tonality, objection handling, how to lower resistance with the sellers, how to get commitment, how to not get shopped, everything that you need. And so I'll drop a link to our advanced inner circle inside of the chat. We also have coaches that are doing $1 million a month wholesaling real estate that teach the business owners. We help you with Dispo. We help you with lead management, everything in between. So if that's your problem, you probably need help with sales if you're not confident enough to be able to go spend money on these high quality leads. Because at the end of the day, cold calling, SMS, that, all that stuff, yes, you can build a big business with it, but it just becomes really hairy. And everybody eventually does end up switching to inbound marketing once they're able to convert. So here you typically have an agency. Now, what I don't recommend that you do here is I do not recommend that you hire a VA to run all of your marketing. Not if you're trying to get to a multi 7-figure business. A VA is not going to be able to run all of your marketing. I usually recommend this agency, and then I blend in some PPL. Now, you can't rely your entire business on PPL, so I wouldn't be hey, I'm going to get 100K a month just by running, motivated leads or iSpeed to lead. They will provide you 100K months if you spend money on them, but I wouldn't rely your entire business on them because it's not as consistent as you need to be. So an agency, you can do an agency that will do Facebook, you do PPC, my personal favorite, YouTube, my other personal favorite, any sort of agency that will run your marketing. Now let's talk about Dispo. Honestly, for Dispo, a lot of this depends on your average deal size. So for us, our average deal size, even starting out when I hit my first 100K a month was 30K. So it's 3 to 4 closed deals. I was able to maintain most of it myself, but this was my first hire besides a VA to help me with all the random stuff was a Dispo rep. Now, a Dispo rep, typically you want to pay them 7.5% commission. That's the standard. And you need to be able to support them with their financial goals. So if you're doing 100K a month, they're going to be able to make about $75,000 a year, roughly a little bit more than that, maybe 85, 90, I guess at the end of the day. So 7.5, you have to be doing enough revenue for it to make sense for them. But honestly, if you're in a market like Miami, SoCal, New York, some of the bigger ones that have more expensive houses, you're not going to need a Dispo rep at 100K. You might need to get to a little bit higher. If you're closing 1 to 2 deals a month, might be really easy for you to do. So marketing, I've kind of outsourced that. I've got my agency that's helping me with that. If you're really tech savvy and or maybe you're a marketing nerd and you already know how to run PPC, yeah, do it yourself. It doesn't take that much time. It's just the skill to learn it. I think it's a complete waste of time for you to go learn it if you don't already know how to do it. Now, I do know some wholesalers that they already were doing PPC before. And so they just bring it into wholesaling. It's awesome. But anyway, so Dispo, 7.5% commission. That's typically what you're going to pay. Let's talk about the marketing agency. Typically with marketing agencies, it's anywhere from, I'll call it 1,500 is the lowest I've ever seen, all the way to at this level of ad spend, the most you really should pay is about $3,500 per month at this level of ad spend, 15 to 30K, I should say, 1,500 to 35. Obviously there are tiered programs. So if you're spending 50K, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. And let's talk about sales. So sales in order. First thing I'm going to hire is a lead manager, and I'm going to pay them anywhere from $6 to $8 an hour plus a bonus. Typically pay them about $250 per closed deal. That's a good compensation for a lead manager. Now, $6, these are people from Egypt or people with any sort of accent. And then $8 is going to be somebody that grew up in the US, but then has to live in another country for whatever reason they get deported. And so those are the $8 an hour people. And I do teach how to get these people. A lot of people wonder, how do you get people that grew up in the US? I teach that inside of my advanced group. I save that just for them because honestly, if I shared that with everybody, that group would be all the groups that I pull from, it'd be absolutely slaughtered and nobody would have good lead managers. Now, the next hire from there, this is going to be your acquisitions. And honestly, again, you don't need to have an acquisitions manager. I have students in my advanced group that are doing $300,000 a month and they don't have acquisitions managers. They're just running it by them. Their partner runs Dispo. They have one partner with marketing. I've got other people that are doing 150, literally just them, a partner and a VA, right? So you don't need it. But if you are going to hire an acquisitions because I don't know, you want to and you want to focus on like dispo and marketing, then this is a 10% commission. And so that's the structure of the business. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about, and this is probably one of the most important things, I'm going to get really like tactical here about, that was one of the things I didn't like, is this is all high level stuff. It's like, okay, what are the numbers? Like, yeah, that all makes sense. But what do you actually do? What do you do every day? What are the things that actually drive 100K a month or getting to 100K a month? It's really simple. I'm going to break it down into like really simple steps. Step one, if you're not already doing it, you need to track your KPIs. I feel like I'm talking to elementary people when I say this, but like literally, like if you're not tracking KPIs, you don't have a business. You need to at least know what you're doing, right? You need to know what your business actually does. So you need to track KPIs. I'm not going to beat a dead horse on that. Really simple. You guys should be doing that. If you're not, start doing it. The second thing that you need to do is you need to have a CRM process. And what I mean by this, I have a ton of other videos on this channel talking about this in a little bit more depth, but like, I'll just explain it. So when a lead comes in, how many times do we call it and what period? What's our speed to lead cadence? How do we ensure that that's being hit? What do we do with all of our follow-ups? And so like I have an entire video breaking down how we do our speed to lead, what that actually looks like, how many times we follow up with leads that are 6 months out, how many times we follow up with leads that are 30 days out, or 3 months out plus, how many times we follow up with our appointments, what our cadences look like, all that good stuff. I'm not going to go into that in this video because I've already made a video about that. But like CRM process, you need to have something that basically says, hey, new lead comes in, we call it within 2 minutes. This is how we ensure that that happens. And then we follow up with them. If they're 6 months out, we call them once a quarter. If they're within 3 to 6 months, we call them once a month, so forth and so on. So you have to have a really good CRM process. The third thing that you need is you need to have a dialed in sales process. Now, for some reason, people don't understand what this means. Like I hop on calls with guys all the time that want to join our advanced group. I'm like, all right, walk me through, what's your sales process? They're like, I don't know. What does that mean? It's like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? You don't know what a sales process is? Like, all right, a sales process is what you do to convert your leads. If you don't have a systematic approach that is well thought out, you're missing the biggest part of your business. So here's the thing at the end of the day. At the end of the day, our business is a marketing and sales business. It's not a real estate business. It's not a real estate investing business. Like it's a marketing and sales business. Now we can all get leads from the same place. The difference between the people that crush it and the ones that don't is their ability to convert them into closed deals. Notice I said closed deals, not contracts, right? Closed deals that actually make them money. So if you do not have a sales process, and what I mean when I'm talking about a sales process is it needs to have a couple of different things. It needs to be repeatable, it needs to be consistent, and it needs to be efficient. Some of these words are probably not spelled right, but you guys get the gist. It needs to be repeatable, consistent, and efficient. And so what I see when people don't have a repeatable, consistent, and efficient process is they never get any traction because they do like 30K 1 month and then they do $0 the next month and they do like 50K and 0 and 10. And it's like, dude, your business is an absolute mess. And it's because an inconsistent process creates inconsistent results. Now, I know with my team, for every 4 appointments that they have, one of them is going to turn into a contract. It's just going to happen, right? Now they do a little bit better than that, but it's because they do the same thing every single time. Like they have a way of going through their process that's going to get the seller to feel their pain points. It's going to get them excited about the future. They're going to get their bottom dollar needs. They're going to overcome objections before they come up and they're going to get that commitment. It's really that simple. So doing a little highlight of like, what do you actually need to do is you need to track your KPIs. You need to have a CRM process and you need to have a sales process. Now, the last thing that you need is you need to have one, I'll call it like a powerhouse. So I just made that word up, but like a powerhouse marketing channel. I've never even said that before, but I'm just going to call it that. And so what I mean by this is you need to have one channel that performs. Again, I think I brought this up. One of the things that I've seen, and it gets people stuck, and it's like one of the dumbest things that I see people get stuck with is they have like 4 or 5 different marketing channels. They're doing sub 100K a month. And when we look at their marketing channels, they look like this. So it's like, let's say that they're spending, 20K a month and their marketing channels look like this. So they have cold call, they're spending, let's call it 5K on, and then they're also getting a 2.3x ROAS on this. They have, let's call it Facebook. They're spending 10K. They're getting a 3x ROAS. And then they have like PPC. They're spending, let's call it just for simple math. We're going to say they're spending another 5K and they're getting a 7x ROAS. And then they're like, yeah, I don't know. These are my channels. Like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, I think I need to add another channel, or I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with my business. It's like, all right, right now that $5,000 is turning into roughly 11,500. The $10,000 is turning into 30. And then the other $5,000 is turning into 35,000. So all in all, you're doing roughly 35 plus 30 plus 11,5, 65,000 plus 11,500. Overall, you're doing about 76K on 26 in spend, right? So this turns into 76K. It's like 76,500. Where what you could be doing is you could just get rid of these because they're not working and they suck. And then you spend the entire 20K, what's getting you a 7x ROAS. And then you just go, okay, well, I'm spending $20,000 and now that's turning into $140,000. 140. You guys get the gist. And so you need to have one killer marketing channel. Now, I am okay with you guys testing like a couple at the beginning to see if they work, but give them time to work. And so one of the huge things that I see people make mistakes is they're like, oh, I just tried Facebook. It didn't work. It's like, oh, really? Facebook doesn't work. Facebook advertising doesn't work for you. There's nobody else that's doing Facebook well. It's like, okay, well, what does your messaging say? Are you calling out the right avatar? What's their form look like? Is there enough friction or is there not enough friction? What's your landing page look like? What's the call to action, right? Like all of these different things that they haven't even looked at. They're just like, oh yeah, Facebook doesn't work. Or like PPC doesn't work. It's like, all right, what's your keywords that you're bidding on? What's your website conversion, right? And there's all these things that people are not looking at and they're just saying that their marketing channel doesn't work, right? It's ridiculous. You can make any of them work. And I promise you, all of the marketing channels work. It's just whatever one you put the most effort in, the one you put the most attention in. And that's why you have some people that are doing like direct mail and they're getting a 15x ROAS because they've been doing it for 10 years and they've isolated the specific zip codes and specific avatar of people that they're going after. It just works better because they put more time into it. So anyway, end rant, 100K a month is not hard. It's honestly, it's kind of surprising to me that people say like, oh, 100K a month is like a lot in this business because it's like, can you not close 3 deals a month or 4 deals a month? Can you not get 58 leads per month? It's really simple, right? It's not very difficult to do. The thing is people just do not focus on the fundamentals. It's just a fundamental marketing and sales game. You figure out your channel that works. You figure out a sales process that converts them. And then if you do that, yes, there are exit strategies that will help you, like novations and being able to, I won't even want to add sub to. I don't think that's a use of your time when you're trying to get to this point, but being able to novate deals is pretty important. Put them on the market and then being able to have cash deals. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully you guys took away some stuff that you guys will be able to go implement if you're not at 100K a month. And then once you guys get there, hit me up and I'll be able to help you scale your business from there. Cool. See you guys on the next video. Bye, everybody.